Today, we're going to talk about average order value. Last week, I posted on LinkedIn a quick poll that was talking about the difference between average order value to include shipping or exclude shipping. Quickly, do you think AOV should include shipping costs or exclude shipping costs? I want you to think about that really quickly. I'll give you a moment. Okay, now that you have your idea, I'm going to give you my thoughts. What VisionLabs as a whole, both Stockton, myself, and the team have talked extensively about our thoughts around average order value and how you actually use that. There are two schools of thought on average order value. One is that you should exclude it because it is a cost to the business. You should exclude that. That is the more of the financial side of things. If you include average order value, what that does is that gives the customer, the end user, a baseline to work against. So say, for example, you were selling summer cooling towel for $25, and that is free shipping included, $25. The business, maybe let's just say $7 to ship. So you're making $18 minus cost of goods, all that jazz. But overall, $25 is what the customer sees. On the other side of things, you could say, we are going to charge you $18 for this towel and $7 is shipping. And you could be truthful in that shipping cost. It actually costs you $7 to ship and fulfill that to their door. What this does, it gives you an apples to apples comparison. Shipping costs is always there, right? It is always going to be a factor with you when you're working on online direct-to-consumer brands. The customer might not know that, right? The customer doesn't think of shipping as a cost because Amazon has entered the marketplace and now everything is free shipping, 2 days, all that jazz. But in your actual breakdown, like from a marketing perspective, you have a shipping cost to account for. So when you factor in average order value, you really should take into account the cost of shipping because that is included in the cost for the consumer. They are viewing that, they are going to act upon that price. Now, let's just say, for example, let's take it to an extreme. We've worked with, for example, a live reef company and a premium meat company where $300 plus orders and it costs them like $80 to ship because they have to put heating packs and cooling packs and overnight it and everything else. Hey, if you are confused about your data, you do not know what to do, and it is not telling you what action to take, feel free to contact us. VisionLabs.com/contact. If you are an e-commerce brand, we'd love to speak to you even more. VisionLabs.com/ecommerce. Book a call. I believe we can knock your socks off, help you get to a more profitable business using data on a consistent basis that is unbiased, impartial, because we just manage your data. In that case, right, if you spend $300 and they say there's $70 in shipping, the customer doesn't know that. Right? The customer doesn't know it costs them $70 to get that to them. They're just saying, wow, everybody online is paying $300 for this thing, for this premium cut of meat. And so in that case, the shipping cost might be a big cost, might be a $70 is your shipping, but the customer still has that. So from a marketing perspective, I believe that average order value should include your cost of shipping. From the other side of the aisle, we now have the idea of a financial perspective. And this is where you might end up with a new metric. The average order value is what the definition is of an order. Should the order just be the value, the marginal contribution that you are making for that order? So say, for example, your cost of goods is $5, your cost of shipping is $5, and your advertising cost was $5, and your product you sold for $20. So you made $5, 25%. Or maybe you don't include advertising. So you made 50%, $5 shipping, $5 cost of goods. That is a different number. The order value, the value of that order is the total amount of that order, the value of the order. Average order value. When you take that into account, right, from a financial perspective, you might want to break it into a different metric. You might say maybe the average profit per order, the average profit value. But when you say the order value, it should include that. But a lot of times people from a financial standpoint will like to exclude that shipping cost because you don't make that. Let's not account for people who try to make money off of shipping. I don't know, ethics aside. But if you try to make money off of shipping, that's a whole different ballgame. Free plus shipping, all that jazz, where it's not actually the cost of shipping. You get the idea. But what you can look at is from a financial standpoint is that average order value being construed to a different metric? Average profit value, average contribution margin, a lot of different ways to look at that. So when you are looking at this from a marketing standpoint, I think you should include it. The customer has to bear that cost regardless of whether you include it in the price or exclude it in the price. Amazon has really skewed this the wrong direction from a marketing perspective because everyone thinks shipping should be free, and marketing teams are like, we need to have free shipping. But instead of including that in the cost, they just add for shipping for free, which is what they're telling the customer, which they're actually doing. So we want to think that from a marketing perspective. From a financial perspective, we want to say, what number are we actually looking at? So when you're talking about AOV, the takeaway from this is make sure you know what you are doing and what you're trying to do. Those are two different things. What you're doing is, are we currently including it? I will let you know that both Google Analytics and Shopify include shipping costs in the average order value. So if you don't think that, make sure you know what you're doing. The second is what you're trying to do. From a marketing perspective, AOV is what the customer sees, the value of that order. And so when you are trying to optimize, increase the average order value, you could do a lot of different things. You could pull the upsell lever, you could pull the cost lever, the quickest lever. On a side note, the quickest way to increase your average order value is add shipping to the calculation. We've seen people do that where they just simply now are including shipping costs in the average order value, boom, goes through the roof. And what do you know? Your CRO agency is crushing it. That's beside the point. So what you need to do is make sure you know, A, what you are trying to do, what you are currently doing. I would say most marketing teams should include that because it will unify and normalize everything, and making sure that your financial team knows what you're looking at as well, from an average order value perspective all the way down to a average contribution margin, average profit margin, etc. Make sure you're considering that when you're talking about average order value with a team, with an agency, with anybody. Just consider those things.